We have many concerns and some excitement at looking at the whole picture. So thank you for the opportunity to share our thoughts and concerns with you. It's very difficult to be last on an agenda that started at 9 in the morning, and I'll do my best to cut out things that have already been said and keep my remarks to a very minimum. I thought I could bring you a lot of statistics and talk in generalities, but probably what would be most helpful to the committee would be to hear from some county commissioners who are on the front lines and actually doing the work. So that's my plan here. I brought the chart. I think this was also in Patty's information, but the levy rates, and someone had asked about maximum levy rates and what they were, and I actually I've handwritten those in on the bottom of the third page after talking with Aura. And 14.3 is the max on Class 1 for your regular current levy, 28.6 on Class 2, 57.2 for 3 and 4. There are 30 counties at the max. There are another 7 that is very close to the max. And then I will just reiterate that those are set in Constitution. The levy, the tax rate is levied on 60% of market value, and that, as I understand, is statutory and something that could be increased. And also, thank you, Jerry, for explaining the rollback provision. I was going to mention it, but I get tongue-tied and twisted when I try to explain it. So that has been an issue that commissioners have looked at and would like to see that eliminated as well, now that we've gone beyond the beginnings of the reappraisal roll-in. One point I'd like to make is that county commissioners are kindred spirits to legislators. We do on the local level what you do on the state level. You have many needs and services that constituents want, worthy projects, and you have finite amount of resources, and we are in the same boat. We're a political subdivision of the state, and we have express powers that you grant us, and we have limited resources and lots of good projects that need to be funded. So we hope that you will keep that in mind as you are going through this process, that we feel your pain. We understand how difficult it is to really have fair and equal tax reform. It's very difficult to make everyone happy, and the only problem for us is we're right there on the local level making those decisions, and we end up in the post office and in church and at the basketball games hearing from our constituents, our joint constituents. They're your constituents and ours. So we want to work with you. There's a couple of points that I want to make before I introduce my commissioners to you. And the first one is that we participated. This is my third tax reform committee over my 20 years with the county commissioners. The Underwood administration, then again in the Manchin administration, and then this reform committee today. And we have worked as partners with each of them, and we hope to work with you, and that we hope that you will look at these issues very carefully and thoughtfully. No rush to judgment. That's our hope. There won't be a rush to any judgment without a good, thought-out plan. And our goal is that it would keep all levels of county government fiscally sound and able to meet the needs of our joint constituents. And I think that's what I heard some folks expressing a little bit ago. We agree. And secondly, that you would continue to consider our organization, the County Commissioners Association, a partner in this discussion, and to continue to give us a voice at the table. We currently have a legislative committee that we've put together. We are researching this with other states, other counterparts in other states, and through our national organization. Our legislative committee intends to have regular meetings on this. We are exploring not just the tax reform issue, but jointly with home rule. What can that mean to us? What do we want it to mean to us? The state of Oregon has home rule that they've implemented, doing some research there. And so we're really trying to formulate a picture. We're not ready yet to tell you what we think might replace this or that, but we want you to know that we are working on it. We are trying to formulate a picture of what we would like to see happen at the local level and come back to you. With that, I'm going to introduce to you my two commissioners. Nancy Cartmill is from Cabell County. Nancy is the president of the County Commissioners Association, and Nancy comes from a county, I guess, that would be considered West Virginia urban. If we have urban and rural in West Virginia, Nancy is from Cabell, a larger county with a university in the middle of her county. Jack is our legislative chairman, Jack Woodrum. He's a Summers County Commissioner, and Jack is from a much smaller rural county commission. And so, do you guys have a plan of who's going first? Nancy first.
Thank you, Jack. My name is Nancy Cartmill, and I'm a county commissioner from Cabell County, and I'm president of the County Commissioners Association of West Virginia. I also serve as vice president representing commissioners on the board of directors of the Association of Counties. I want to thank you, Mr. Chairman, and the honorable members of the Tax Reform Committee for allowing me this opportunity to speak to you today. I do not come armed with research. You could title what I'm going to say just plain talk from a county commissioner about the finances in our counties. I am sure you know that the Constitution says that the county commission is the fiscal agent for the county, and that is hammered home to us constantly by the state auditor, who says you're not only physically responsible, you're criminally liable. And that's a pretty heavy burden to bear. It also says our number one responsibility is to adequately fund the other elected county officials, which include the sheriff, the assessor, the county clerk, the circuit clerk, and the prosecuting attorney. A few years ago, there was a court case in Cabell County where Judge Pancake ruled that funding the county elected officials had to be done before county money could be spent for anything else. Next came paying for any contractual agreements such as the regional jail and other contracts. This opinion was upheld by the West Virginia Supreme Court. Most counties are struggling financially, and it has become very hard for us to fund anything except those things that we're required to fund by law. A few years ago, the West Virginia Legislature passed legislation that required Cabell County, and it was county-specific legislation, to give a percentage of its total revenue to the county library off the top of our budget before anything else. This year, that amount was $1.5 million. Legislation was also passed that required Cabell County to give a percentage of total revenue to the park board. This year, that amount was $500,000. So before we can fund anything else, we've spent $2 million of our budget. This cost, along with the cost of regional jails, has made it very hard for counties to give pay raises to our employees or even provide enough employees to meet the needs of the other elected officials. We're seeing county commissions that are now being sued by those elected officials because they believe that their needs are not being met adequately as the law says they must, and they're winning these lawsuits. In my county, our jail bill exceeds $3 million a year, even though we have a great home confinement program, a day report center, and a jail diversion team who work diligently to make sure alternative sentencing is available and being used. We're the only state in the country where the jails are owned by the state, operated by the state, but the county commission must pay for everyone that is arrested in the county. Counties have no say in how the jails operate, how the money is spent, or how much the cost to them will be each year. We must pay the bill that is sent to us. And by the way, in my county, only 12% of that jail bill actually belongs to the county. And it just seems like there's something not very fair about that. Each year we ask the state for help and various bills have been introduced, but so far the jail bills have not gone down. We have 9 counties at this time that are behind in their jail payments, and that's because they simply do not have the money to pay the bill. This causes a greater burden on those of us who do pay our jail bills. Counties receive cold severance money, some more than others, but that money's drying up and it will soon disappear. The only real source of revenue for counties is real property tax and personal property tax. We do receive some money, but very little from fees that are charged. We have no county B&O tax, we have no county sales tax, and we have no authority to generate new revenues since we're not allowed to do so by law. Money for our 911 system is vanishing as the number of landlines decrease every day. This is a great loss, and counties must pick up the cost. In my county, the commission had to allocate money to upgrade the 911 phone system this year since ours was old and antiquated. The phone company no longer had parts to repair it, and in some places, the system was being held together by duct tape. is the truth. The phone system for our county cost around $700,000, which was a real blow to our budget. I think the formula used by the state to distribute cell phone money doesn't give much money to county 911s, and we're constantly seeing other entities trying to take more of that cell phone money. 911 is too important to all of us, and it has to be adequately funded. Most counties are maxed out on levy rates, and in my county, we're not only at the maximum rate on our levy rates, but we have 7 excess levies that fund such things as the Health Department, TTA, EMS, Green Acres Center and Autism Services, volunteer fire departments, and economic development. You can see we try very hard to provide most of the needs of our county, but any decrease in taxes, such as business, personal property, and inventory tax, or any increase in the homestead exemption would put us under. Several counties in the state have said they would be bankrupt with any increase in their homestead exemption. In Cabell County, we would lose $18 million with the elimination of the business, personal property, and inventory tax, and another $3 to $5 million on an increase in homestead exemption, depending on the amount of that exemption. If counties are to remain solvent, money cannot be taken away unless it is replaced with something that is sustainable and will be there for years to come. I served as mayor of the city of Barbersville for 8 years, and I've been a commissioner for 12 and a half. Attracting business to our city and county has always been a real priority with me, and I've talked with many business and developers who wanted to locate in our area. I would have to say that never did I have one of them refuse to locate here because of the taxes, whether it was business, personal property, B&O tax, or something else. In fact, many times they spoke about how low business taxes are in West Virginia compared to other states. Each year we ask the state for help, and various bills are introduced. But so far, our jail bill has not gone down. And that's become a real burden for all of us. I'm afraid that when specific taxes are eliminated, the tax burden will simply shift to others who cannot afford it. County Commissioners Association of West Virginia is very willing to work with you, but we're struggling with ideas that we believe will work. We've looked at other states to see what their tax base includes. We're also talking about home rule for counties. But my suggestion would be that we not rush into anything and that we sit down together and we work really hard to do something that's in maybe a very creative way to find the right answers and solutions to the problems that face all of us. And I believe that together we can do this, but I don't think it's something that we can really rush into. I want to thank you so much for listening. I hope I've given you the information needed in order to understand the workings of county government and the many challenges that we face financially. Thank you.
Thank you. Being last on an agenda has some advantages. One is that I know all the good information's already been taken. So I have elected to relate to you some things that have been running through my mind here for several weeks around this conversation. And our part of the agenda was entitled County Tax Concerns, and I want you to know that county government is on board and willing to provide input that will help to shape the future role of county, municipal, and state government in West Virginia. In my opinion, it's my opinion that the public and our employees look to us for 3 things: protection, order, and direction. There will be challenges and concerns, as well as opportunities that present themselves as we contemplate the economic struggles our state faces and as you craft tax reforms. As you consider the future role of counties in West Virginia, you may choose to relinquish control of local and regional issues to county governments and enact new statutory authorities to local elected officials. We look forward to developing better and more responsive policies with you. It has been said that with authority comes responsibility. This is true, and I believe local government will take up that challenge. However, with that said, we already have many challenges within our respective communities: regional jails and the cost of incarceration, drug and alcohol dependency, crime, economic development, both locally and regionally, education, libraries, broadband, dilapidated structures, infrastructure, ambulance and fire services, workforce development, and maintenance of existing county properties. We need the flexibility to address our current issues before we consider additional responsibilities. At this time, counties cannot tolerate additional disruption of the revenue streams. For the most part, we all suffer budget hardships, and that in itself is the basis of our revenue-neutral position on tax reform. As we move forward, we need to do so with the understanding that change affects multiple stakeholders, and that disrupting the status quo will generate discomfort not only in county government but also in state government. To be successful, we are going to have to take time to determine what resistance to anticipate and also to sort out what this resistance is trying to protect. By not carefully considering and acknowledging potential resistance to reform, you may needlessly sacrifice yourself without achieving your goals for a more prosperous West Virginia. County government is well suited to produce results within the current framework of government today. It functions to deliver the outcomes we currently ask of it. Now that we are formulating change, we should ask ourselves, as West Virginia evolves, what new competencies will be needed in county government? County government will grow as we add additional administrative burdens on it. New employees with different skills will be needed. Salary lines will increase to attract quality employees. There will be a need for additional office space that is in short supply in aging courthouses. And before these needs can be implemented, revenue will have to increase. In today's local governments, many of us struggle to allow our customers to use credit cards to pay their taxes online. The days of we've always done it this way and we've never had to do it before need to be a thing of the past. Many of our staff and officials will acknowledge the need for change and resist change at the same time. We need to understand their concerns so that we can address them and thus provide protection, order, and direction, or I fear we will never move our state forward. We live in an environment of urgency, high stakes, and uncertainty. Legislation often produces heartfelt emotional response in segments of the population. Region and logic are not always enough. We need to identify not only partners and allies with who our opposition is, but also what our opposition has to lose by the change we are proposing. I believe the best solution to our state's problems will not come from any one level of government, but from a collaboration between state and local governing bodies, citizens, and interest groups. It may take more than a lifetime to achieve the highest and most noble aspirations we all have for West Virginia, but the work has already begun, and together we are accomplishing something worthwhile every day for the people we serve and the future we strive for in this changing and challenging world. And gentlemen, I thank you for allowing me to share that with you.